Greetings and welcome to Success Formula Show. I am Muhammad Yousaf, host of Success Formula Show. Today we have a very amazing personality with us. She is partner at Seabury Inc. She is business broker, IT specialist. Like she is doing so many things at the same time. Give me a warm welcome to our today's guest, Annie. Welcome, Annie.
Oh, thank you, Yousaf. That's such a wonderful introduction. I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you so much for showing up on this show. Let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who were you surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
Born and raised just outside Milwaukee in a small town called Saukville, Wisconsin. Grew up, went to grade school, high school there, graduated. And my father actually, when I was about 18, got transferred to Florida. And there was this part of me that didn't want to go because I'm going to miss all my friends. But we were all going our separate ways and trying to find our way in the world. And then there was this part of me that's like, oh my God, Florida, warm weather, because Wisconsin is cold, and I'm in Wisconsin right now. So I moved down to Florida and I went to school. Wasn't really quite sure what I wanted to do. I wanted to do everything, I guess. So, and that was a little, that wasn't feasible. So I started working. I started working at Chase Manhattan Bank in the collections department. And that was my first call center experience. It was fun. It was fun, and it was very different on the collection side. Worked my way up to director, which transferred me to Minnesota. And right when everything started to crash, about 2006, 2007, there was a big layoff. And so here I was. I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do now? And one of my good friends, and actually turned out to be my mentor, Kay, she's like, hey, we're starting an IT company. And I said, well, I know about this much of IT. And she was a network engineer. I mean, she's a big geek. All I had was my charm, right? So she said, I think you'd be really good in sales. And I said, oh boy, okay, but what am I selling? So as it turned out, back then, this is before virtualization and VMware and cloud and AI. Everybody had nice, pretty hardware, all the pretty lights, bells and whistles. And she was a network engineer, and hardware was big then. So we were selling mostly Dell and HP servers and server parts because, everybody in the IT department typically worked on site, and if something failed, they had to get parts or a full server. She was really a great mentor towards me. And as it turned out, I can troubleshoot. So any network engineers out there, any IT people, I'm your server girl. I can figure things out. So the interesting part about that journey was I learned very quickly, and I loved it. When you do something you love, the money follows, and everything was good. There was a Microsoft World Partners Conference, and Kay was invited to it, and she's like, oh, you're going. And I said, I don't know these people. Oh my God. And I said, I don't know what I'm talking about. She's like, they're all people like you. Sales, marketing, small talk. That's not for me. I mean, she was your typical IT person. You were able to make an appointment. You saw all the people who were there, and you were able to do like this 15-minute meeting. We called it speed dating. So I thought, well, go big or go home. So I went to see Dell. I had an appointment with Dell. And I don't know what I said, what I did. I know I was rambling because I was a nervous wreck. We were this tiny little company, and I had these 3 people that I was meeting with. And I think, in my opinion, they were just kind of appeasing me like, oh, that's so nice. You work with Dell equipment. Oh, good, Well, I got back 8:15 on Monday morning. After I got back, my phone rang, and it was Dell, and it was not any of the people that I met with, and it was one of the guys from Canada, and they needed a lot of, I can't remember now, but a bunch of servers that were end of life. So I ran into Kay, and I'm like, oh my God, Dell needs all these servers, and we don't have them. And she was like, we'll make it work. Just say yes. So I said yes. And I got a quote out, and we got that sale. And oh gosh, it must have been 6 months or more after that. Their help desk called us and asked if we could help some of their folks out when they didn't have any parts that weren't available. So we were getting all these referrals, and we just grew and grew and grew and grew. And it was amazing. And we couldn't keep up, but we did. Somehow we did. I don't know. And as technology changed, and there was virtualization and cloud and software backup and so on, we had to change too. And so on top of our really good hardware, both used and new, we added those services on as well. And I think, oh gosh, in 2020 we sold. It was this, I think we had taken it to where it could be. And so it needed a fresh face, and you have to realize that sometimes you feel like, oh, it's my kid. Oh my gosh. But it was time for someone else to take it over and grow it in a different way. So we sold it, and then I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grow up. So I really liked business. So I got my business broker license and real estate license so I could sell commercial and
Wow.
real estate. And that was, or that is, it's still, I still do that, but the knowledge is just key. And then
Okay.
IT always calls my name. And so now I'm back at Seabury. I
Okay,
started at
wonderful.
Seabury. So
Wonderful. From IT to like licensing in business broker and commercial real estate. And what are your future plans?
I don't know. I don't know. At some point, I'd like to retire, but I don't think I have it in me to do that.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. And please tell me a little bit about like business brokership and commercial real estate. Like, how much are you involved in those things?
It's been kind of an unusual trajectory because there are some folks that have been in the business brokerage, excuse me, for like 30 years and they're just busy. When you're new, it's a little tougher. And usually the first year, not much happens. You're just kind of getting out there and meeting people. The second year is when things start. So I had to get my real estate license for the businesses that own the real estate as well, so I could sell that too. And it's just so interesting to watch, and we work a lot with the small, we call it Main Street business, but mom and pop businesses. Some of these folks have started it, or maybe it was handed to their families and their kids don't want it, so there's a little emotions. There's a lot of emotions to that. And so I think, with Murphy Business Broker, I really love a personal experience. And typically what we'll do is, what we'd like to do in a perfect world, when somebody wants to sell, it's kind of that 3-year exit plan. How much are you looking to get out of the business? You do know there's tax ramifications, and we'll walk through that. And maybe there's some, are your books clean? I mean, those are the biggies, right? Those are the real big things, making sure. And when I say clean books, I don't mean who's embezzling from you or anything like that. If you were to be audited, is there anything questionable in there? And I mean, in the business world, books are a funny thing. I mean, they can do lots of things. And so we make sure we take people through that process. On the buying side as well, if somebody wants to buy a business, the funding's there. If they need to go through an SBA loan, we have contacts that will walk them through that process and make sure that they're approved for that. And so we don't just bring in anybody off the street. We make sure that if it's a buyer, it's a true buyer that has some backing behind them, whatever that means, whether it's their own money or whether it's borrowing or it's a partnership, whatever it is. So we help people on the entrance plan and on the exit plan.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, any like you have a lot of experience in different kinds of things, and you have worked with a lot of different businesses. What are the top three success secrets which others can get as a cheat sheet and implement right now in their business?
I think for me, what I learned through making mistakes was to make sure that you do have a balance in your personal life and your work life. When you're self-employed, can consume you. So go to those kids' baseball games. Make sure you take your spouse out, but also make sure, and I think this might be a big thing on the business side, is know every part of your business and always check on it. So sometimes I've heard the statistic, for example, that 80% of small businesses, their bookkeeper embezzles. Now, I think that's a little crazy statistic. Maybe it's true, but it got my attention real quick. So you always want to make sure you're in your books every day. And even if it's, you want to make sure that, let's say you have a warehouse and there's packaging and boxing, make sure you know what those folks are doing every day.
What challenges are you facing right now in your business?
IT market is so saturated. You really have to as best as you can prove more how reliable your business is. And that's always tough. I think when you're talking about AI as well as machine learning, I think people are just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with that. None of us really know because it keeps growing by leaps and bounds, right? I mean, when you think about AI, for years we've Googled everything, right? That's a piece of AI. It goes through the internet and finds answers to your questions, and AI is very similar to that and more. Now we're being able to teach it to understand and answer questions, and not just basic questions anymore. I think in the business space on a whole, I think a lot of folks are just kind of waiting to see what pans out with AI. And so people are waiting to spend. I think they're waiting to spend their money a little bit more. Like, should I put my money here or should I put my money here?
Yes, wonderful. And any people who are watching this podcast right now, how can they support you?
Well, you can always reach out to me. I will answer the phone or return a phone call. My website is seaberry.com, and there are three parts to Seaberry. There's the IT side, there's an energy side, and then a tribal nation side that we work with. So if you have questions about any of those, please don't hesitate to reach out.
And what kind of clients do you want to acquire? Like real estate, like business brokership?
You know, actually both. I mean, if there's somebody out there that's maybe looking to buy a business or looking to sell a business, I'm always for a free consultation and just getting to know you. On the IT side, if there's, if you need to move to the cloud or looking for a new data center or a backup plan or even AI, please feel free just to have a conversation with me, and we can go through a little bit about what your needs might be. And if we find that it's a good fit for either side, I'm so happy to help people. That's one of the things I learned. The biggest thing I learned from my mentor, Kay, is it's about the people. It's definitely about the people. So I'm an open book.
Wonderful. And what would you say as final words?
My final words for somebody that wants to go into business: be prepared. There's a lot of nuances that come at you, and you're like, whoa, I would have never thought of this. So talk to somebody that's been there. It doesn't have to be me, certainly. It could be friends or family that have been there. Just know or get a good feel for what you're walking into. And I think for those folks that are maybe selling a business, that's a very big emotional that's an emotional undertaking. So please talk to people who have sold a business and how that transaction worked.
Wonderful. Thank you, Annie, for sharing your wisdom with us on the behalf of Integrated Success Formula and my entire team. Stay blessed. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Really nice to be here.